Hello, I'm Kate Matoka, and this is my final presentation over the Nash Equilibrium theory and its applications in society and real world situations. My introduction after learning about Nash's equilibrium theory in class, I realized how much we deal with it on a daily occurrence. Two scenarios I chose were political voting and military decisions. I also included some personal experiences using tacit coordination between my friend group and me. I thought it would be best to include some personal experiences using factors of his theory, which would be the tacit coordination, so that my readers could relate it to themselves and stay and get engaged with the rest of my essay. And I added that little bit in there just so it kind of hook the reader and get them more entertained in reading the rest of my essay. Um, For real life application, this is where the two scenarios are. I applied Nash's theory mainly to political issues we face as a nation. One main one being how we vote for our president during presidential elections. The entire event revolves around the zero sum game. One party, whether that is the Republicans or Democrats, are gaining advantage over the other's loss. In doing so, each party creates promises or additional goods in order to gain popularity. That's when either Republican candidate or Democratic candidate are promising their followers to do something if they are elected as president, which gains their popularity and results in one's advantage over the other's disadvantage. The other way I applied his theory in the real world was through the military and recent conflict crisis between Israel and Hamas, the terrorist group in Palestine. Our nation's military, along with the president, are always considering the citizens' best interests and not just themselves. This, I believe, was a perfect example of how the theory applies because the conflict drew the United States' involvement in order for the terrorist group to remain at a minimum and not receive an excessive amount of power that is threatening to the residents back home. Um, that's just to say the United States didn't want the terrorist group to keep invading or causing harm to other citizens and um, receiving even more power than they already had, and then potentially invading the U.S. and its citizens. So they kind of beat them to the punch and sent over aid and whatever that Israel and Palestine needed in order to fight them, so that they didn't get so powerful that they did that here in the United States. So they kind of had the safety of the citizens and their best interest in mind when they made that decision. Consequences. After discussing the applications where the equilibrium theory applied well, I also included a section where I believed his theory was not the best way of analyzing a situation. One example of that I included was teachers making decisions for the class without accounting for their accommodations. Well, in other words, interest. For instance, I included that some kids learn differently than others. If a teacher makes a decision that harms one of their students and slows their learning, tutoring will be involved, which requires not only time but money as well. And that's just to say that also a zero sum game could apply here because some kids are advancing their learning through the teacher's decisions, and the other kids, the ones that are needing tutoring, are at a disadvantage. In conclusion, I believe there are many factors that coincide with each other to make Nash's equilibrium theory function, whether that be prisoner's dilemma, tacit coordination, where me and my friends in my friend group, where we could make hand gestures or facial expressions to get the other to do something. That's just because we've been together and known each other for so long that we know through just hand signals and gestures what the other one is trying to say without saying anything. And also, as well as the game theories I've discussed, mainly the zero sum game through the military and the teachers' decisions. Uh, we can apply his theory in many ways throughout society. However, in some cases, it may not be the best solution when analyzing a situation. That's just kind of where the teacher making the decisions for the entire class and not taking the other kids' accommodations into account plays in. And that is the conclusion of this presentation. Thank you.